Which of the following is an example of a law made by Parliament for implementing international treaties or agreements? Geneva Convention Act 1960. Which of the following is an example of a law made by Parliament for implementing international treaties or agreements? Geneva Convention Act 1960. The Geneva Convention Act 1960 was enacted to implement India's international obligations under the Geneva Conventions. To implement international agreements, the Geneva Convention Act 1960 was enacted to implement India's international obligations under the Geneva Conventions. The Parliament can make laws on any matter in the state list for implementing the international treaties, agreements or conventions. This provision enables the central government to fulfill its international obligations and commitments. Some examples of laws enacted under the above provision are United Nations Privileges and Immunities Act 1947, Geneva Convention Act 1960, Anti-Hijacking Act 1982, and legislations relating to the environment and TRIPS. Hence, option 2 is correct. Some examples of laws enacted under the above provisions are United Nations Privileges and Immunities Act 1947, Geneva Convention Act 1960, Anti-Hijacking Act 1982. When states makes a request, when the legislatures of two or more states pass resolutions requesting the parliament to enact laws on a matter in the state list, then the parliament can make laws for regulating that matter. Some examples of laws passed under the above provision are Prize Competition Act 1955, Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Water Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1974, Urban Land Sealing and Regulation Act 1976, Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994. Geneva Conventions Act 1960. This question is from Indian polity. Article 253 related to international treaties. Why is the Geneva Convention Act 1960 was enacted by Parliament to implement the Geneva Conventions of 1949, which are international treaties on humanitarian law during war. The Act itself states that it was enacted to give effect to these international conventions. Geneva Convention Act 1960. It was made by Parliament to implement an international treaty, the Geneva Convention 1949. The Act deals with protection of wounded soldiers, protection of prisoners of war, protection of civilians during armed conflicts, punishment for serious violation of the Geneva Conventions. Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This act protects wild animals, birds, plants, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994. This act regulates organ donation, organ transplantation, prevention of illegal organ trade. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. This act controls water pollution, industrial waste, water quality. Although environmental concerns have international dimensions, this act, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, is not a standard example of a law enacted specifically for implementing an international treaty. Some words. Parliament, noun, Sansad, the law-making body of India. Implement, verb, लागू करना, to put into effect. International, adjective, अंतरराष्ट्रीय, between different countries. Treaty, noun, sandhi, a formal agreement between countries. Agreement, noun, समझौता, an agreement accepted by two or more parties. कन्वेंशन नाउन अधिसमय मतलब एन इंटरनेशनल एग्रीमेंट ऑन ए स्पेसिफिक सब्जेक्ट उसे कन्वेंशन कहते हैं. प्रोटेक्शन नाउन संरक्षण कीपिंग समवन और समथिंग सेफ. ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एडजेक्टिव मानवीय कंसर्न्ड विथ ह्यूमन वेलफेयर. Geneva Conventions are four international treaties signed in 1949 that lay down rules for protecting people during armed conflicts, including wounded soldiers, shipwrecked military personnel, prisoners of war, civilians. India is a party to these conventions. Article 253. Article 253. Parliament has the power to make laws for the whole or any part of India to implement international treaties, international agreements, international conventions, decisions made at international conferences. Even if the subject normally belongs to the state list, Parliament can legislate for implementing international obligations. Article 253 Part 11 Part 11 Topic Relations between Union and States. Power given to Parliament. Purpose implement international treaties and conventions. Important article related to Parliament. Article 245 Extent of laws made by Parliament and state legislatures. आर्टिकल 245 क्या कहता है? एक्सटेंट ऑफ लॉज मेड बाय पार्लियामेंट एंड स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर. आर्टिकल 246 क्या बोलता है? डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव पावर्स. आर्टिकल 246 क्या बोलता है? डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव पावर्स. आर्टिकल 253 क्या बोलता है? लॉज टू इम्प्लीमेंट इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटीज. आर्टिकल 253 क्या बोलता है? लॉज टू इम्प्लीमेंट इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटीज. आर्टिकल 254 क्या बोलता है? Inconsistency between union and state laws. आर्टिकल 254 क्या बोलता है? Inconsistency between union and state laws. Geneva Convention Act 1960 implements the Geneva Convention 1949. Article 253 Parliament can make laws to implement international treaties. Geneva Conventions protect wounded soldiers, prisoners of war and civilians during war. Part 11 of Constitution deals with the relations between the Union and the states. Read the following statement carefully. हाँ देखिए. The central government cannot unilaterally pass any decision within the Goods and Services Tax (GST) Council meetings without securing the support of state government. अब रीजन देखिए. एवरी डिसीजन ऑफ जीएसटी काउंसिल रिक्वायर्स ए 3/4 75% मेजोरिटी वोट ऑफ द members present and voting, where the central government holds a 1/3 33.33 voting weight, and all state governments combined hold the remaining 2/3 votes 66.67% voting weight. Both A and R true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Assertion क्या बोल रहा है? Central government cannot unilaterally pass any decision within the Goods and Services Tax Council meetings without securing the support of state governments. Reason क्या है? Every decision of the GST Council requires a 3/4 75% majority vote of the members present and voting, where the central government holds a 1/3 33.33% voting weight, and all state governments combined hold the remaining 2/3 66.67% voting weight. Under the Article 279A of the Constitution, decision in the GST Council required a 75% majority vote. Since the center holds 33.33% of the vote, it can veto any proposal on its own, but it cannot pass a decision without support from the states, who collectively hold 66.67% of the vote. Therefore, both statements are true, and the voting split explains the assertion. This voting structure is designed to promote cooperative federalism, ensuring that major changes to indirect tax structures require agreement between the central government and a significant majority of the state representatives. The central government cannot unilaterally pass any decision within the GST Council meetings without securing the support of state governments. The central government cannot pass a proposal annulled because it has only 1/3 voting weight. To pass any decision, the center must get support from the states. True. Every decision of GST Council requires a 3/4 majority vote of the members present and voting, where the central government holds a 1/3 voting weights, and all state governments combined holds the remaining two-thirds voting weight. This is exactly what Article 279 provides. Central government one-third 33.33% voting weight, all states together two-thirds 66.67% voting weight. It must receive 75% of the weighted vote of members present and voting for any proposal. GST वस्तु एवं सेवा कर, indirect tax on supply of goods and services, council परिषद decision making body, unilaterally मतलब एक तरफा without the approval of others, unilaterally एक तरफा, majority बहुमत more than half of the required proportion of votes, voting weight मतदान भार the value assigned to a member's vote, federalism संघवाद sharing powers between center and states. GST full form goods and services tax. GST is one nation, one tax, one market. It replaced many indirect taxes like VAT, excise duty, service tax, entry tax, luxury tax. ये सब. GST constitutional provision Article 279A provide the GST Council. GST Council constitutional body, yes. Article 279A established 2016, chairperson Union Finance Minister. Composition of GST Council: Union Finance Minister, chairperson, Union Minister of State Finance, member, Finance Minister of all states, members. GST Council functions: the Council recommends GST rates, GST exemptions, threshold limits, special rates during disasters, model GST laws, tax structure. Constitutional articles: Article 279 GST Council, Article 280 Finance Commission, Article 324 Election Commission, Article 315 UPSC, Article 148 Comptroller Auditor General CAG. Voting weight of center 1/3, 2/3, majority 25, consent or no. GST was introduced by which constitutional amendment? 101st Constitutional Amendment Act 2016. GST Council constitutional body 279A 101st Constitutional Amendment Act 2016. Union Finance Minister. ये चलिए next. The Bharat Vistar platform launched by the Government of India in phase 1 in 2026 is primarily designed to provide AI-powered multilingual voice-first digital agriculture advisory and support services to farmers. The Bharat Vistar platform launched by the Government of India in phase 1 in 2026 is primarily designed to provide AI-powered multilingual voice-first digital agricultural advisory and support services to farmers. Bharat Vistar virtually integrated system to access agricultural resources is a nationwide AI-powered voice-first multilingual digital public infrastructure platform that provides farmers with real-time location-specific agricultural advisory and access to various government schemes and agricultural support services. The platform is not meant for procurement under public procurement system. It is designed for farmers, not included for agri-staff. ये भी गलत है, ये भी गलत होना सिर्फ database. भारत विस्तार है क्या? यह एक नेशन वाइड AI powered voice first multilingual digital public infrastructure platform है that provide farmers with real-time location-specific agricultural advisory and access to various government schemes and agricultural support services. Phase 1. Bharat Vistar integrates 10 major central schemes including PM Kisan, PM FBY, Soil Health Card, Kisan Credit Card, Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, PM Krishi Sinchai Yojana, PM ASA, Modified Interest Subvention Scheme, per drop more crops and submission on agricultural mechanization. The platform is currently available in Hindi and English through a voice-based AI chatbot, web portal, mobile app and the dedicated helpline number 155261.